minuscule. So
I think it was
some did.
less than 5%
Yeah,
of all slaves went to Canada.
Some did.
Right.
Not sure why they went all the way to Canada, but they did. But the percentage was tiny compared to the rest of the fleeing slaves.
Because the slaves knew as soon as they crossed the Ohio River into Indiana and Ohio, you were free.
Right.
You cross that river and you're golden. You'll get a job. You can buy land. You can get a house. You can do everything the American dream.
Yeah, why would you keep going all the way up to Canada? Unless there was this belief that, well, America is so messed up that I don't really feel safe anywhere in America. And that would be why a certain percentage of them went all the way.
Sure, but once you hit Cincinnati, the booming, bustling city that it was back in the day.
And a free city.
Yeah, back then. Not anymore, but back then. And you are listening to Smith Radio. Your host, Brian Smith and Carrie Smith, live every Sunday night, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. If you want to be a part of the show, call in line. It's 513-888-1538. Follow us on Twitter at Smith Radio. That's SMYTH. You can follow all our videos and articles that we post throughout the week on Facebook at facebook.com/Smith Radio. iTunes, we're there. And if you want to listen to all the past shows or say you missed a show, go to iHeartRadio and you can find us there, iHeart.smithradio.com. We're talking about everything Orlando, racism, Obama, and the lack of leadership. And we are now into the pathetic world of Hillary.
Yeah.
And this week, she snatched the reins from Bernie Sanders, so she no longer feels the burn. And this is a video we posted on Facebook of Hillary and her speech this week on Tuesday. It says, notice anything special about Hillary while she's talking? She's wearing a Giorgio Armani.
We all know too many people who are still hurting. I see it everywhere I go. The Great Recession wiped out jobs, homes, and savings, and a lot of Americans haven't yet recovered. Haven't yet recovered. Haven't yet recovered.
Okay, so she's now calling the Great Recession. I guess that's Obama's fault. I don't know. She's claiming that they haven't recovered from the Great Recession. So she's up there giving the speech in what looks like a burlap sack to me. Like, I wouldn't buy that.
It does look like a burlap sack. Yeah, she $12,000.
It's made by Giorgio Armani.
Yeah.
It's just a jacket.
Uh-huh.
$12,495 for a burlap sack.
Well, when Armani designs it, it definitely adds a lot of value to it. Brian's about to... Blood is shooting out of wherever. Oh, man.
Yikes. So I couldn't... it's just not even possible. She, like I said, again, she's out of touch. Who wears a $12,495 jacket that doesn't have a job? She doesn't have a job.
Are you sure?
Where does she get all this? Well, I mean, she works for the Clinton Foundation, and we know how they bundle all that money in.
I keep forgetting she's not Secretary of State anymore. So
Was she ever?
Well, she didn't do anything.
She held the title.
Yeah.
Okay. Appointed.
Well, she thought that that's what it was. She thought, oh, this will be prestigious. I'll be able to lie to people and say that I have foreign policy experience.
Right.
She didn't take into consideration that lives are going to be on the line.
Oh, wow.
And her negligence and incompetency was going to actually cause people to die.
Right.
And it did. It did.
Well, there was an article about her money that came out this week from the Washington, D.C. It says, Clinton cash, only one or two instances where donations slipped through the cracks. And so Breitbart did a thing on it and completely debunked it. Bloomberg reported that 1,100 foreign donors were never disclosed. Thousands of foreign money pouring into their foundation was actually hidden from people. They were hidden from people. All the donors, you're supposed to disclose the donors when you have a nonprofit like this and you're accepting donations, like we talked with Trump, he had to vet all the people he was giving money to. Well, imagine receiving that money. You then now have to expose all the money that you're receiving. While she was Secretary of State, there's over 1,000 different major donations in the tunes of millions of dollars, and all the names were hidden so that you couldn't see them while she was Secretary of State. And a lot of people are saying that Hillary got the position of Secretary of State from Obama because it was like, all right, well, I won. Thanks for letting me win. And I know I did you wrong, but here's the payback. You go ahead and be Secretary of State. And then you know how you get the money. Go ahead. So they're saying that there may be emails and information out there that connects Obama to Hillary.
Like she greenlit the illegal activity.
Correct.
The money laundering and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Embezzlement.
Right. And as soon as we found out about the Uranium One, right, there's a company called Uranium One that was a Canadian company that also did business in America. And they had a large amount of uranium that they would refine and use for nuclear weapons, nuclear power plants, things like that. And so America, we had control of that. Well, she greenlit the sale of Uranium One to a Russian businessman where his company is owned by the Russian government.
Okay.
So he's like the go-between between his company and the government, but the government really owns it. Well, in order for that sale to happen, Hillary had to sign off on it as Secretary of State.
Okay.
So she did sign off on it. And millions of dollars subsequently poured in to Bill for speaking fees.
Well, that's odd. Speaking fees?
Yeah.
Who was he speaking to?
Well, people. Stuff.
Interesting.
Doing stuff.
So it was kind of like it was you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Right. So it's just Breitbart News, Michael Patrick Leahy, he reported the Clinton Foundation refused to release the names of 1,076 foreign donors. So how do you get away with holding a 501c3 status and not complying with the law? Only the Clintons can do this.
So which law is she particularly breaking there?
The fact that she's not disclosing the foreign money coming into America, the names of those people.
And it would be important because as Secretary of State, there may be a conflict of interest there.
Do you think?
I mean, that is crazy.
What about the whole thing? What about the whole thing with Trump? Everybody wanted to vet him out and, where are your donations going to? Where are you getting your money from? And they're beating Trump up all over the place. He's like, here it is. Here's where my money go to. And then they're like, oh, see, look, you donated to the Democrats back in the day. They went through all the donations that he's ever given and ever claimed to given. They went through his kids' donations, how much his kids gave.
Wow.
Yes. And come to find out, his kids apparently gave a couple of $100 to the Clinton campaign.
Okay. And
Trump gave a total of like 1,000.
Yeah, maybe a couple thousand here and there.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to realize,
you got to play ball, y'all.
Well, we've said this over and over and over and over on this show that Trump is not a politician. So and this was particularly important during the primary against Cruz, because they were trying to bash him over the head with that.
Right.
He's actually a Democrat. Here's the proof. He gave to all these Democrats. That's right. That was what their argument was. But what you got to realize is he's a businessman. And as a businessman, especially big business billionaire, you've got to do what you got to do to remain competitive. And it just so happens that he's operating in a domain of corruption.
Right.
And so in order to do business and stay ahead of his competitors, he had to do what you got to do in that corrupt environment, which was grease the skids.
Well, and what he did was perfectly legal. You're allowed to grease skids. There's nothing illegal about that.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't
but the
doing the duffel bag. It wasn't a duffel bag.
But the Clintons helped to perpetuate this world of corruption. Pay to play, if you will. I mean, they're all about pay to play. That's what
right.
this whole thing is. Clinton Cash, the documentary, that's what it's all about. It's pay to play.
And Trump had to operate
He wanted to
in
play.
this world.
Right.
And it's not just play. I mean, he could probably really be in trouble business-wise if he didn't do these things.
Right.
It would affect his business adversely.
So last Saturday, I had missed this, folks, and I greatly apologize because I'm usually on top of that kind of stuff. But last Saturday, Judge Napolitano was on Judge Jeanine Pirro's show, and he pulled no punches about Hillary, and he said, quote, because she wants to be the president of the United States and she's a felon. This is what he said. He said her emails are important because they show the manner and the methods by which the United States government acquires foreign intelligence. He went on to say, Judge Napolitano said that Clinton has shown a cavalier attitude about preserving these secrets, as well as the names of people who, if their names came out, would be dead. She hasn't preserved any of this information. He called her a felon.
It's interesting because you would normally call somebody a felon after they were convicted of a felony. Does she have that?
No, she doesn't. I'm just...
He's judging the case already. He's saying since she's clearly committed a felony that she's not being charged for, I'm going to call her a felon because she already committed. She did commit it,
right?
And it needs to be charged. But the fact that she didn't get charged does not negate the fact that she's a felon.
Oh, he's like, he's using the word felon, like calling her a name, like look at her, she's cankly, she's got cankles.
Well, let me put it to you this way:
she's a felon.
Is O.J. Simpson a murderer or not?
Oh, yeah, of course he's a murderer,
but he was not convicted.
Yeah, but we all know.
We don't even know if he's a felon.
We don't even know if he's still alive.
He could be not alive.
That's true.
Really?
True. Possible. They said he was really sickly, up to 300 pounds in prison.
300 is not that big for a football player that's let himself go. Usually you
That's
get up
true.
into the 450s.
Ooh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Football players that have been out for 25 years or whatever, and they let themselves go.
Right.
300 is kind of on the light side.
Wow.
That's light. Yeah, they'll get up there.
Wow. So I know this is kind of an odd thing, but I just want to throw this out there. Last week when we were talking about the Trump riots in San Jose that completely disappeared from the radar, all kinds of crazy footage came out of people running, Trump supporters running for their lives. All week has come out. Hillary's supporting these riots. George Soros is supporting these riots. La Raza, you remember we talked about La Raza?
Mm-hmm.
Trump University, the judge,
yeah.
La Raza. Mm-hmm. La Raza leader says chants of USA made her sick.
Wow. I mean, she's literally saying, I hate America that much.
Right. And the cops...
Please leave the country. Please.
Right.
That's like delete your account. That's my version of delete your account.
When the cops responded this week, we know that Trump supporters were running for their lives, but we were unable to help.
That's in San Jose?
Yeah.
By the way,
those cops,
kudos to the Richmond police. There was video, some of which was live, of people trying to do the same thing in Richmond as they did in San Jose. Interestingly, probably a lot of the same people. They probably flew them over or bust them over.
Oh, I'm sure.
All the way to the other side of the country in order to do this. I mean, that's what you get when you fund it through George Soros. You can actually fly these people in and all that kind of stuff. That being said, they clearly went straight to violence in Richmond. Straight to violence. I mean, sucker punches just out of nowhere, right?
Right.
The police were like, hey! And tracked these guys down, and there were some scuffles between the police and people resisting arrest and some of the other protesters that were screaming at the police, what are you doing to him? Stop it, stop it. You know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Well, kudos to them, because that's what you're supposed to do when Trump supporters are walking through a crowd and just getting sucker punched because they have a shirt on or they're screaming. You're allowed to scream. That's actually protected by the First Amendment. But you shouldn't have to worry about